Hi, folks. Bob Mannery here. You're listening to A2D Radio, real sports talk radio for the fans, by the fans, no agenda. These guys are the best in the business. Hashtag it. No notes.
What up, fam? Tuesday night, Birds of a Feather coming to you live on A2DRadio.com, Instagram, Periscope, Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. Brought to you by Gibson Mayer LLC, our certified public accountants. Make them yours. GibsonMayer.com. Our poll question this week, or conversation piece, is brought to you by our doctor, Dr. Paul Vidal, over at Specialized Physical Therapy. They got physical locations in Burlington, Cherry Hill, and Princeton, New Jersey. You can also find them on the web, specializedphysicaltherapy.com. No appointment needed, guys. You need to get yourself looked at, checked up, get some things, get some rehab going. Hit up the doctor. He's the best in the business. Our conversation point. Big win this week over the New York Football Jets. So the question or conversation is, the Eagles' pass rush is good again. Agree, disagree. Who wants to kick it off, boys? Who wants to get us going? I was at the game, by the way. Fun game.
So then you start. You were at the game. You give us.
I am still undefeated. Tom loves when I mention this, but I'm going to mention it. Every game I've ever gone to the link, the Eagles have won. This is another one. I go to at least one or two a year, so it's a pretty damn good record. I've only seen them lose. Last time I saw them lose was Donovan McNabb's rookie year when Doug Peterson was the quarterback.
Oh.
In 1999 against the Miami Dolphins. I watched them lose.
Someone get this guy season tickets.
This means that
Will's tried to bust my balls on agree to disagree. And I said to him, listen, cheapskate, you won't even buy a shot. So if you want to start forking out and getting me to games every week, I'll be happy to go. Absolutely happy to go. But until then, don't take shots.
This means you're not coming week 11 then, right?
Who knows?
I'm about to buy your ticket.
No.
That's a big week. We're definitely going to need that. Electric crowd. It was a high-energy environment, as always is for Eagles games. I thought the offense looked really strong coming out of the gate. It was almost kind of the opposite of what we've seen, where they got off to the fast start, as opposed to, it seems like the trend this year was tough first quarter and then
pick it up.
Kind of pick it up as the game goes along and make adjustments. But I did feel like the offense looked a little bit better this week. There were times that, they were missing some passes and whatnot. Guys had struggled to get open at some points. But overall, the defense really looked good this week. And I felt like, sometimes, even though it's the Jets, sometimes you need, and without Sam Darnold, you still need to have these games that can be a confidence booster. Go out, and if you can execute your game plan the way that it's been mapped out, have success, doesn't matter who's on the field, it builds that confidence, that rapport between the guys to kind of raise the energy level up and get out. And you saw that. You saw turnovers this week. You saw the pass rush huge. What was it, 10 sacks, I think, this week?
Yeah,
10 sacks.
We got double digits, baby.
I really felt like it was a really more, and you know what? With some of the struggles at some points that the offense had, I'm not that concerned about that, because I felt like this game was more important for the defense to come out and be ready to play full throttle, whistle to whistle. And I felt like you really saw a strong showing from the defense this week. So to me, this was a successful game in that. I mean, we knew they were going to win. There was no question, especially when Sam Darnold was out, that this was a game that was ours for the taking. It was just going to be by how much and how many points we can keep off the scoreboard on the defensive end. And I felt like the Eagles came out, executed Schwartz's game plan for the week, and they're going to have a tough matchup coming up. So if there's a game that you want to be able to build your confidence and your momentum going forward, it's going to be the week before you have to go in and face, Adam Thielen, who had a monster game this week for Minnesota, and Stephon Diggs and everybody over there in Minnesota, and Dalvin Cook. I was impressed with what I saw this week. I focused, again, more on the defense, and I do feel like the defense came out very, very strong here. Pass rush looked excellent this week.
Yeah, to me, it reminded me a lot of what in baseball they do in spring training when they play a college team out the gate, just as a full speed tune up type of deal, where everyone seemed to be clicking a lot more consistently than they have the last couple of weeks. I mean, penalties were a little bit higher than you would want to see, but overall it was a lot more cohesive gameplay, start to finish. You didn't see streaky quarters. You saw the play call executed a lot better, I should say. And to me, it's a great win, no matter who it is. To blow them out that way, going into a big game next week.
The poll question is so tricky.
The guy who came up with the poll question.
I know. I came up with
it. The poll
it.
question is so tricky.
Is
it because
tricky.
are you worried that it's like fool's gold of what we saw?
It's because I don't. How are you measuring the pass rush? Like, all right, because starting with the second half of the Packers game, I really felt like the pass rush was starting to get penetration and pressure, but we weren't getting sacks. Not to their detriment, though. I think that we weren't getting sacks because the coverage was bad. And then when you look at this Jets game, it's like, yeah, great, we got 10 sacks, regression to the mean, and it's going to happen, blah, 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 blah. We all know that. That's great. But it is also the Jets. I think we all agree, like, you can't really take away much from playing an offensive line like the Jets. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but when I look at the Jets, I think, okay, they can come out of this with 5 or 6 sacks. 10 sacks is still a statement in the NFL no matter who you play.
It's still great. That's why I'm teetering. I'm like 70% agree. I just want to see. Yeah, I know it's weird. I'm like wishy-washy right now, but I do lean toward agree. I think the pass rush has shown in the past game and a half that it's starting to be more consistent. I think Cox is starting to mold into himself again. Brandon Graham is Brandon Graham. Like he's never going to be a sack, machine, but he's always going to get penetration. He's always going to be elite in the run game. He's one of the top 3, I'd say, run defending defensive ends, edge players in the game. So he's going to be Brandon Graham. He's healthy. He is what he is. We were seeing up and down stuff from Barnett. Some good, some bad, some dirty stuff, which we'll cover later. But we're also seeing Josh Sweat amp it up a little bit.
Josh Sweat has
he's
the
steadily
last
improving.
2 or 3 weeks. You're starting to see his name a lot more come across your screen. You see the back of that jersey a lot around the football making plays, and that is extremely encouraging.
Maybe him cutting his hair helped with his aerodynamics or something. But I like it. I agree. I just I need to see it again because I want to make sure that what we saw, the sack totals, what we saw against the Jets wasn't just like, oh, it's just the offensive line. Like we saw it. If we take away the Jets game, we saw it for a half. I want to see it again against a legit offensive line.
Pull up the sack totals against the Jets this entire season. I want to see what other teams did.
Yeah, true. Yeah. So
let me just respond to that because I understand where you're coming from, but to me, when you watch great teams in this league, how many times have we watched great teams? And I harp on this all the time, and I'm going to go right back to them. For years, we saw teams like Pittsburgh when the Browns were the Browns and might be the Browns again. Yeah. But when the Browns were truly the Browns, how many times did we see Pittsburgh go out and put 34 points up and give up a lot of points and then come back and have a 13-3 or 13-16 game to play up and down to the competition?
Absolutely, you're right.
One of the things I want to see from this football team, and I think that does establish elite teams, what you see with New England a lot is they do not play down
to their competition.
Unless it's Miami in Miami, and I'm not saying that because of whatever. 10-6 though. Listen, they didn't lose this week. I'm just saying. When it comes down to how they play every team, when you go out and you play an inferior football team, you need to go for the jugular and you need to step on their throats.
You dominate, yes.
And that's what great teams in this league do.
Absolutely.
Not the fitter fodder back and forth of up and down. And to me, I saw that this week. Like I can't imagine another team had 10 sacks against them this week.
I'm
So
pulling it up now.
somebody pull it up and look
Yeah.
for it. I want to see what the sack total.
That's where
against the
I'm
Jets are.
leaning. I think you're absolutely right.
And statement
So,
games
yeah.
matter against bad teams.
Oh, yeah.
Particularly when you are having struggles, whether it's the chemistry of a team or getting guys on the same page and understanding what the scheme is. You need to have these kind of games. And again, too, when you're coming on a stretch where you're going to be playing 3 games on the road, to have I don't care who's coming in. I don't care if it's Highland High School's football team coming in. If they need to come out, make a statement at home, build that confidence when you go on the road, and you need to work out whatever kinks you need to. And I'm not saying that we're going to come out next week and everything's going to be, fire out of the gate. But do I think this team's going to have a little more confidence and a little more confidence in each other going forward? I absolutely do. I took a lot more good out of this than thinking it's going to be necessarily fool's gold. And there has been times where they've stepped up this season.
Yeah.
And the games they're losing, they could easily be undefeated right now if guys weren't dropping footballs. Let's be real. There's a very good chance this team could be 5.
Drops, and fumbles.
And the thing that I do worry about now, it's about getting a little bit enough confidence. Not that I need them to go out and hold Minnesota
to build on.
to 10 points or 14 or 16 points. But what I need for them to do is not allow this team to go off for 30 points to where the offense that has continued to score this year despite all the drops and everything so that they can just put more points on the board than what Minnesota's doing.
Do enough.
And coming out of this week, I feel a little bit more confident that could happen. And I think another thing, Skandrick had a really big game for us this week, and I'm not expecting that every week. But when you need to go out and make moves to bring guys in, he's another guy who he's had his struggles over the last couple years. So maybe a little bit of confidence with him this week, could suit us well going forward as far as, having a depth guy that has that kind of confidence that he can come in and fill his role.
Well, he's a veteran, and here's the thing, Skandrick isn't going to light the world on fire like he did against the Jets. He's not going to light the world on fire any week. He is what he is. But at the same time, he is a veteran. And considering the state of the team right now at the position and how many healthy bodies we don't have, a veteran like Skandrick is something that is definitely welcome. Because you have a guy who you're not going to have to worry about, is he going to make a mental mistake here? Is he going to make, is he not going to know where to be here? No, he knows what to do. He knows where he's supposed to be. So in a role where you're asking him to do certain things and not just take over and be like the guy, he could hopefully, you hope that he thrives in that. I know that my one friend, and there was even an article, had said can Skandrick be the next Patrick Robinson for us?
I was going to say that's the name I was going to bring up as an example of that.
I said pump the brakes because it's kind of different, the two situations.
Sure.
And also, Skandrick had a great game against the Jets as a blitzer. He wasn't really asked to do much in coverage. Now, again, it's the Jets, so I get it. I'm not saying he was horrible. I'm just saying okay, he did great as a blitzer and in run support. Let's see him when he's asked to do stuff in coverage. Can he be reliable in certain spots that we need him to be? Because it's going to look like Mills is not going to. Obviously, Mills is going to be out another 2 weeks because he's on.
They were saying what, week 7? I think
week
they
7
were
because he's on the pup.
him. Okay.
He's on the pup, and then Avonte Maddox looks like he's still in the neck brace, so he's still weeks away. You have Rasul Douglas, Sidney Jones. You're gonna need Skandrick. You're gonna need Skandrick to come in. I mean, I know we were saying Craig James' praise at the end of the Packers game, but it's still Craig James.
Yeah.
I would rather have a veteran like Skandrick play, in the nickel packages because I know that he's not gonna make a stupid mistake because he's a veteran. You know what I mean?
Comparatively, I looked it up. The Patriots had 5 sacks against the Jets, and then both the Browns and the Bills had 4 against the Jets.
So say it again.
Up.
The Browns and Browns and Bills had 4.
And the Bills have a good defense.
Bills have a great defense.
The Bills have a really good defense.
And then the Patriots had 5.
Patriots have a good defense.
They have a great defense.
So my point is, though, we could say, it's the Jets, but 10 sacks is 10 sacks in the
Good
NFL.
Point, yeah. Great point.
We double up on the highest total. I mean, there's a lot to be said for that.
Yeah. So I think I like it. I like the trend we're going,
Side note, we know this because we heard it coming on the air, but Keon Jordan says, forget the Eagles for 5 seconds. Ben just hit a 3-ball.
Ralphie, can we get your take on that? Ralphie!
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 Oh, guys, by the way, Ralphie is producing for us
producer.
for Mr. Brodo tonight.
It's fitting.
And it is so perfect to have Ralphie here for Ben's 3-ball.
Ben knew that Ralphie would be producing. That's why he stepped into a random 3-point shot at the beginning of the game. Because he was like, we need to ask Ralphie for his opinion.
I'll bet when he took the shot, he kissed the air, too, to Ralphie. This one's for Ralphie.
I'll just see in the finals.
Okay.
Oh,
hey,
boy.
I'm impressed you're giving us that much credit to,
I'd
to
take
possibly
it.
get to the
I'll
finals.
take it. I'll freaking take it. I like it. I like it.
Listen,
my
Sixers season's around the corner. This is the first preseason game, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
for the Sixers.
So-
Yes.
So, listen, hockey season's now firing. Sixers season's getting ready to roll. It's a good time of year. The Eagles are playing and right now in first place. Good time to be a Philadelphia sports fan right now and not a Crumb Laker fan like Ralphie. But yeah, so back to I mean, I agree with you on a lot of what you said too, and I'm not expecting Skandrick's going to come in, and I don't know if he's going to be Patrick Robinson per se. Could he be that
That's
type of a player? It is.
That's
Patrick
a
Robinson
high-
set. Robinson set a very high standard for a guy in that kind of a similar role too, to where he kind of stepped in and kind of recreated himself in a lot of ways.
I mean, he was the best slot corner in the league that season.
Yeah, I mean,
Like that's high praise.
no,
I mean, like,
and when we lost him,
having
we missed him
expectations. Oh,
for
yeah,
sure.
yeah.
So.
yeah, and it sucked because he also tore his ACL that year too.
Mm-hmm.
So that was unfortunate. That's pretty much his career. But I mean, expecting anyone to be the next Patrick Robinson is high expectations. But we don't need him to be Patrick Robinson. We just need him to be solid.
Right.
Because we need solid cornerback play. And I was saying this. I think we were talking
Gary
about
had a
it.
good game too, by the way.
Yeah, Nick Gary. One of his 2 good plays all year.
That's all right.
But like me and you were talking about this. Like
a big play.
We need to like with the secondary. I feel like now that we've seen a better play from the defensive line, now the pressure comes on the secondary. And these players, not only do they have to step up and just not be – they don't have to be elite. Like, I know we all want Ramsey. We all want to trade for a corner. Right now, we don't have one. So let's look at what we have. We don't need them to be elite. We just need them to be solid enough. And we need Jim Schwartz to put them in advantageous coverages and better, smarter roles where you're not asking the world and unreasonable things of these corners. Like put them in good spots where they can utilize their strengths and not get into spots where it's a no-win situation for them. And as long as they can cover for just a long enough time, our pass rush can get there. They don't need to cover for 5 seconds straight. They just need to cover the first read, second read, and a little bit more, and then the pass rush will be there. I really believe that. But we need to see that. It falls on the players, and it falls on Jim Schwartz to call better coverages.
Let's you cool get over to the fam? I thought you were going to say something. I don't want to cut you off.
No, you're good.
All right. You're going to have your time to speak about your crumbs.
How'd you know that was coming?
David Roska, finally you guys came on. I was waiting for you guys. Yeah, we had a little delay, Roska, but we're here for you as always. Dawn says, what's up, fam? What's up, Dawn? Kyle also says, can we just acknowledge that Ben made a 3? Tom says, Dawn says, holy shit, Chrome. Yeah, I'm back. Wasn't here last week. I'm back this week. Tom says, Tom says, MVP, my boys. What's up, Tom? Kyle agrees with 1,000,000%. Tom says to the poll, I'll know for sure this week. So he's leaving it open. He's not answering. Such a very ironic way to answer it with our conversation we had before we got on here, which I won't call anybody out. But Eileen says, good evening, gentlemen. Eileen, I hope you're feeling better. Kyle says to the poll question, we'll see. Chrome's better than Luke freaking Falk. Ralph will tell you he's better than Luke Falk, too.
I'm a gunslinger.
Yeah, okay.
Gunslinger.
Okay, you're definitely a pocket passer because your ass ain't shuffling more. You ain't shuffling them feet anywhere.
Hefty lefty.
I'm a statue.
3 states and he's like Marino back.
I'm the
at the end.
hefty Eli Manning.
He's he's like Marino back at the end after he tore the ACL at the end of his career and he literally could not move from the pocket.
my
That was
God.
him. That's going to be Ralphie.
Oh my God.
Bill says, watch out, Ben made a 3 MVP, NBA Finals, LMFAO, slow down. Eileen says Gronk will be commentating on Thursday. I'm excited for that, by the way.
I'm excited. I do not know what to expect.
I was going to bring that up, so I'll save it a little bit, unless you want to bring it up beforehand. I wanted to talk about that when we get to No Huddle, because I'm very excited for this. I'm interested at what's going to come out of his mouth.
He's going to announce that
A
he's
live
going to
mic,
WWE.
a live mic in front of Gronk is always an entertaining thing.
What's the over-under of how many 69s he says? I'm going to put it at 2.5.
I'm going over, way over, way over. Clinky says he agrees. Don't think they were ever really bad. Just didn't have a good couple of games. But he said that happens. Bill says the defense definitely looked quicker all over the place. I realize it's the Jets, but they definitely look different to me anyway. Agree with that, Bill. He says the offense will be fine. It was a slow-paced game. Doug dumbed it down some, and he played it safe. Let's go 1 win at a time. I'm all with you on that, Bill. He also says Skandrick looked pretty goddamn good, and I believe he helped the rest getting a little pep in their step. Eileen has left out of the chat for the night. She said, good night, Eileen. Frank Vespi says, hey, yo, sorry to bother you at work. Yes, it's the Jets, but my God, the defense was on point. 10 sacks and 2 defensive TDs. Now keep that momentum going. That's the other thing. It wasn't just 10 sacks. There was 2 defensive touchdowns out of that as well.
Yes. Skandrick's defensive touchdown was a thing of beauty. Like, that he just came in and just like, mine.
To be completely honest, I've never been so relaxed watching an Eagles game.
I said the same to you. I was like,
it was insane.
I don't
dude.
think I left my
Like,
seat, and I
Sat back, relaxed.
Like I
ate
have
some cheesecake.
I don't know how you
had
guys.
a Pepsi. I was good to go.
wait. Cheesecake and Pepsi, is that different from any
Ralphie
other?
had
You
like
gotta let the cheesecake sit before you drink the
Ralphie
Pepsi.
had like the smorgasbord of like a buffet of food sitting next to him. He might have had like cheese and crackers out. He had like he's hosting a dinner
There's a
party.
whole spread.
He has a
a
whole
pie.
spread out, but it's just Ralphie just chilling
On the
there.
dinner trays, the 5 dinner trays around me.
I love it. I love it. I will say this, kind of like from the perspective of being in the stadium with that, because one thing, I know I joke about it, I want to stay undefeated because one of the reasons is football games, I love going to them, but they are not cheap to go to. So I always feel like if I go to a football or a hockey game, which I'm the total opposite, the Flyers was every game I go to, I always feel like I'm kind of annoyed because you spend so much to go to the freaking game to watch a loss that it's like kind of annoying. I have never felt so relaxed walking into a football game that I paid for and just kind of coasting through. Like, it was just fun.
Yeah,
just enjoying the crowd.
how was the stadium when you were there? Were they relaxed? Like, was it still
I would have to say it's probably as relaxed an environment as I've really
So it was like a
as I
baseball
can
game.
recall.
It was like a baseball game. Right?
Well, I mean, I'm sorry. Listen, I mean, they gave us a lot to cheer about. The energy was up. But in terms of like
As far as the tension goes.
tension. Yeah, I've been to a lot of games that they've had to grind out. Like, I can remember the NFC Championship game, and I know it's the NFC Championship game, but you think about like how high level everybody's energy was so up, but you could still feel a little bit of anxiety in the air of the unknown that could happen in this, because it's we're used to like disappointment and whatnot, at least at that point. That this was like the absolute stark contrast to that. I mean, the only time I think people ever really get nervous, even in a game like this, is the instant whenever you see Carson get taken down by the legs. Because there was definitely a play early in the game where Carson went down and he kind of looked a little. And that's the only time this week that I can recall the crowd really just being like, ugh. He got up, did his little walk around, came in, and he looked fine when the next play started. That's the only thing I can really think of. But no, I mean, it was a high energy, but a relaxed energy, if that makes sense. I don't think anybody really was worrying about the Jets. So,
I mean, we've dealt with the same thing for years now. So.
well, I mean,
I knew that was
your
coming.
division's an absolute joke. So what do you expect?
10-6, right?
Well, I mean, Miami. Yeah, it starts this week. They didn't lose this week.
So they're
All
on
right,
a roll.
that's a victory.
They might not lose this week either.
Yeah,
I am picking. Listen, this is the first
Me and you.
that I am letting
Me
you
and
guys know what's on my
Might
schedule.
be the only two people.
On my schedule, this is the first win on the Dolphins' schedule on the road to 10-6 that I had over Washington. Let's go.
The Tank Bowl is here.
yes.
The Tank Bowl is here, boys.
I do have the Dolphins winning this week too.
It's like if you played Madden with a bunch of guys rated 56 and 58.
That's like the.
It's like the create a player without adding any attributes to any of the players, and you make a whole team. It's kind of what we're going to probably see this week.
Yeah.
Like back in the day, they used to have the Euro League in Madden, where
Yeah.
Yeah.
nobody even has a name; they're just numbers.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I
That's it.
remember
Yeah, it's like Tecmo Bowl.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Lutman wanted to know what channel the game is on. I'm assuming Comcast, one of the Comcasts. Tom thinks we're going to roll the Vikings this week. Let's go. Jeff Lohmeyer, he says, not too familiar with the Vikings offensive line, but I figure the way they run block for Cook, they have to be decent. Still think they fluster Cousins enough, and we can leave Minneapolis with a 23-17 W. So I mean, Dalvin Cook is special when he's healthy. But I feel like our run defense is the one thing I'm not that worried about.
I'm not worried about it.
They've been solid for years with the run defense.
Here's the thing. I still think Dalvin could have one or two long runs, but the thing is, I'd be okay with that because I think on his other runs, he's going to be held to minimal gains, and it's going to be a boom or bust kind of day for him. Mm-hmm. So I don't care. The stat sheet might show 15, 18 carries for 80 something yards. But it's going to be where, like I said, one or two long runs. Everything else is minimal because he's so good. He's been tearing. The only running back that's been having better years, Christian McCaffrey. And
overall,
so,
yes.
Overall, yeah. Overall.
As a runner, a strict runner,
it's Dalvin Cook.
Yeah,
but overall, McCaffrey as a runner, Dalvin Cook is playing at such a high level in that new system, and he's perfect for it. But what I'm worried about is Thielen. I'm worried about.
I agree with you on that.
Yeah.
I think that's where you have to look and worry about Cooks the most, is because if he gets off those one or two run plays, how much does that open it up and make you press
Big.
and let Thielen run wild?
They have to control the run game big time. Do not let them establish that run game, because that's really going to open up the field big time for them.
They've got to treat him just like they did this past week with Le'Veon.
Yep.
Well, here's the thing. I feel like Jim Schwartz is going to approach the running game just like he has been. He's going to play cover 3. He's going to stack the box, and it's not going to change regardless. And so he's going to, like I said, he's going to have those one or two long runs. I don't think that's going to change what Schwartz's approach is, because he's always committed to stopping the run, and the players have always been good run defenders. I think that what it comes down to is, are you willing to? It's kind of like there are a lot of people talking about this, and it's kind of weird to approach, but is how good the Eagles' run defense kind of hindering them a bit, because they're so good that teams are so hesitant to run that they just want to pass. Well, our pass defense is so bad that's kind of all right, then you should be just passing. You know what I mean? Is that going to play? How is that going to play into this upcoming game where, okay, if they're not running the ball on us, that's great, but are we going to be able to stop Adam Thielen enough to the point where it's going to be enough to pull off the win? Because from my point of view, if you're going to give Dalvin Cook one or two few runs, okay, I'll give him that. I'll give him a couple runs. But if I can give him that, but then take away Adam Thielen for the whole game, I would absolutely rather have that than completely take away Cook and have Adam Thielen burn us all day over the top for long touchdowns. Because to me, the more efficient way to beat our defense is through the passing game. They hit us with quick scores through the air. They're going to keep getting on the field. You're going to keep hitting our defense, and it's porous. So I'd rather give Dalvin Cook those few runs, but then overall, you get what I'm trying to say? Overall, in the grand scheme of things, if we can have Dalvin Cook get a little bit of his here and there, but then sacrifice that so that we can keep Adam Thielen in check.
So I think
that's
so. It sounds to me
formula.
like you're saying more so like instead of having the linebackers stack the box,
instead of
have them drop back a little more in coverage, and then you can have more help over the top.
Instead of having Jenkins as that additional linebacker in the box, have him drop back and help
over the
double
top.
coverage over the top,
okay.
or bracket coverage on Thielen.
I mean, so what I'll say to that, I wouldn't be opposed to starting like that to see how it works out.
Yeah.
And kind of making a decision of if we're going to roll with this the rest of the game, or are you too worried about Thielen that you are opening up holes in your run defense that you don't normally see there? I think that maybe that's something you give the first quarter a shot and see and change up your normal game plan a little bit, but you don't want to deter too much, obviously.
Because my thinking is, and I was saying this during the Packers game, sacrificing one defender in the box, I still think our run defense is good enough to still be successful because we have the players necessary to still defend the run well. Without that additional help of double coverage, I don't think our secondary is talented enough to survive without that extra player. You get what I'm saying? Like, moving the extra player will help the secondary more than it'll hurt the front six.
I totally get what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's really two things you got to look at. Is one, I think dropping a guy back almost as if he's a spy on Cooks to kind of leave there and float around, because Thielen does run most of his routes over the middle and
in the slot,
and behind Stephon Diggs. That's the other thing, is how much do you leave to cover Thielen and let Diggs open if you're not covering him? Because realistically, they're both number ones.
Yes.
I mean, they can both do damage either way, and that's why Thielen is so good, is because everyone is also respecting Diggs on the outside.
On the outside. The thing is, the reason why, and I love Diggs, the reason why I don't mention him is because I feel like the chemistry right now between Diggs and Cousins isn't there. So my priority right now my first priority isn't Diggs, it's Thielen, because in the last game and I think 2 games before that, Thielen has had some touchdowns. So they are connecting a bit, whereas Cousins and Diggs, they haven't been connecting yet. Because Diggs is the big play guy on the outside. He's the deep threat. He'll go deep, but Cousins hasn't been able to hit him. So I'm willing to test that. Like, to me, if I'm the defensive coordinator, I would force Cousins to show me that they can hit that. And when they do, then I'll adjust. But they got to show me they can do that first, or else I'm not going to honor it just yet. I'm going to focus first on
It's kind of like you could compare it to like in the NBA. Okay, we know a guy can hit threes, but can he hit it consistently?
Yeah.
I'm not going to challenge him at the three-point line until he shows me he's going to hit that. It's the Ben Simmons effect,
yes,
right?
Yeah.
Ben Simmons is never going to draw the attention outside of 10 feet because he's never shown an ability to do that. Mm-hmm. So now we watched him hit a three-pointer tonight. So if that's something that's going to be a part of his game, if he can hit 25, and we say this all the time, if he can hit 25% of that, or 20 to 25% from three-point, you get 1 out of 5, then teams have to start respecting it a little bit.
Because he can hit one.
So it's kind of similar to this, where if you're showing me that you can't do this, you're not able to consistently hit this, talking about the deep ball to Diggs and those big plays, that's fine. I'll give you a little bit of leeway on it till you show me you can. Then when you can, all right, we'll make the adjustments. I get it. I get exactly what you're saying.
So here's my question then for you is, if you're willing to...
This game's crazy, by the way. Sorry.
If you're willing to put the second guy underneath to cover Thielen, who do you want on Diggs outside because he's going to be deep, And who do you free up for Thielen?
Well, the thing is, we don't follow, we don't shadow. It's wherever Diggs is going to line up. Like Rasul's on I believe the right side, while it's either or Rasul's on the left side. I forget how they played it last week. But our corners stick to one side, so it's really not on us. It's on whatever side the Vikings want to match Diggs up on. So that's what whether it be the Rasul side, or whether it be Sidney Jones or Skandrick's side. I don't know.
Because my issue is, yes, I understand there's not really the chemistry there right now. I think there's a locker room issue with Diggs.
We know Diggs is not very happy right now.
he's
That's
not
for
happy.
sure.
But regardless, he's a talented player. He's going to get hit if he's wide open and beats your corners like we know they can.
Did you see that, Ralph? Totally did not know where the straw was, and I basically hit the mic in my face with the cup. My bad.
No, I get what you're saying, but it's just that like if I'm going to try to prioritize who I'm focusing on, it's Thielen and Cooks first before Diggs, because those two have shown me they can. Yeah. This year they've shown me that they're hitting their stride, like they're playing. They can play well. Well, Diggs, Thielen. I mean, Cousins to Diggs hasn't shown to work just yet. Right. So I'm gonna
let's be
put
fair.
That on the
like
bottom list.
Thielen hasn't set the world on fire until really this season either.
Yeah,
there's been definite chemistry issues with Cousins and his wide receiving core.
Absolutely.
I want to get back to the chat because there's a few comments geared to Kevin, and I also want to get to the YouTube chat, YouTube fam. We haven't gotten it yet, and I apologize, but we're going to get to you. So let's try to drive and dig through some of these comments. Bill was talking about the play at the plate earlier, which was pretty crazy. It was a great throw. Kevin, you guys better get – this is from Bill. You guys better get a receiver before the deadline. The offense against the Bills in first half of the Skins definitely showed you might be in trouble this year.
Yeah, I think we definitely need somebody. I don't necessarily know if it's somebody just stepping up, because as far as a team in total goes, we are an older team, but I think we have one of the youngest receiving cores.
Mm-hmm.
We are getting N'Keal Harry back off the IR shortly, or towards the harder part of our schedule.
That's why you kept him on your fantasy team.
Exactly. So we are going to get him back, which I think will help. Although a rookie, I think that we don't take anyone in the first round for no reason.
Right.
So, but our defense is playing literally lights out. They still have not let up a passing touchdown through 5 games. So
it's impressive.
They have, I believe, 12 interceptions, and 4 of them returned for 6 points. So
their interception total is insane, because I think, would you have 1 this week?
Yeah, and it was.
They came in with 11, because we were talking about it before the Eagles game. My buddy Nick I was with, about how he said, how many interceptions do you think the second closest team has to them? Because you don't think about it. Like, the Patriots usually have a good defense. People think they're more elite year in and year out. They think they really are. They end up usually being somewhere around maybe top 10 or middle of the road.
Yeah, right around 10. But
this team this year, you're like, damn, they got 11 picks, now 12 already through 5 weeks.
Yeah.
And I don't know where it's at, but I know coming into this week they had 11, and the closest team I think had 5.
And the crazy part is that it's not just one player either. J.C. Jackson's doing well on one side. Then you got both McCourties. Devin McCourty.
McCourty twins.
Devin McCourty had an interception in the first 4 games. This past game, his brother got an interception. So, it's all around the defense is playing lights out.
It is.
A couple other comments on here. Rosca says, Cain Velasquez whooped Brock's ass. Cain Velasquez showed up on SmackDown this week. Bill Middlebrook says, Kevin, well, you need to play some high-powered offenses before we really know. And he says, don't worry. You'll wind up with Diggs, Sanders, Green, or someone. I have no doubt about it. Some interesting names.
Yeah.
Rosca says Tampa Bay Devil Rays 4-0. They're just the Rays, not the Devil Rays anymore. They've been the Devil Rays in about 12 years. But, yeah, it's crazy. Verlander getting chased in the 4th inning. 2 outs in the 4th inning. Wow. Tom says, we just have to put pressure on Cousins. He stinks, with all caps. with pressure up the middle because he can't move. Bill says, bring the pressure, stop the run, disrupt Cousins, and make him beat us through the air. Tom says 28-17 Birds. If we get home early on Cousins, this game is a wrap. Jake Friel chiming in from the weekly roundup. What's up, my guys? Agree to the poll. The Jets game was much needed as a confidence booster for our defense. Who's doing the YouTube? Ralphie?
Yeah, I can do the YouTube.
Come on, you stub.
Bryce Brackwell in chat.
What's
Roscoe's
up?
also double dipping.
What's up, little double dip?
Sixers JT's in chat as well. Brodo's in chat as well. Bryce Brackwell on YouTube says 3-game road trip time. # Fly Eagles Fly. Defense was lit on Sunday, which is very true. And then Sixers JT says these next 2 games will be tough. I hope we at least win one of them.
Two.
Against the Vikings again.
3?
Yeah.
Next 3 games?
No, he said 2.
Oh,
Next
2.
2 games.
2. I thought he was talking about the 3-game road
Because I
trip.
think one of them is Miami.
No, Buffalo.
Buffalo.
And then we come back home, yeah.
Wait.
Yeah.
We have
It's
Minnesota, Dallas,
and
Buffalo.
That's right.
3-game road
Miami's a
trip.
road game later. My bad.
And then Brodo says to the poll, I need to see one more impressive game for them to say agree. By the way, the Sixers are winning the championship.
Yes. I meant to read his comment.
Simmons Splash Bros.
Simmons.
Didn't he say he said they're going to win the championship forever in all caps?
Forever. And then E-Money Bentley, I love that name, says Eagles Von Miller. I want to hear you guys think there's a chance
I don't know.
that
the Broncos
start selling here.
If the Broncos start selling, and we ain't all in on Von Miller, and listen, I forget his name. There's a defensive back.
Would
too.
you give up? Would
Chris
you
Harris.
give up 2 first?
for Chris Harris and Von Miller.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
heartbeat.
you don't even have to.
Yeah.
I'd give up a lot for those 2.
Yeah, me too.
I'd
probably give up
Both of
what they want for Ramsey. Seriously.
I might even throw another pick in
Yeah,
on
I'll
top
throw
of
another
that.
pick.
Seriously.
2 first and a second, and have it.
Yeah.
For Von Miller.
I'm gonna
Chris
tell you
Harris.
right now, I love Von Miller. If we end up with Von Miller, I might go from 6 to midnight so quickly. All these bobbleheads, as soon as I stand up, might get knocked off this table, and it might stay like that for a week. So I'm telling you right now, if we get Von Miller, done.
Yeah,
Can you see the Broncos moving on from him though?
It's tough. He's such a
very
staple.
tough.
He
of that,
is.
and he's a staple with the organization. He's a staple with that community. You know, he's done things now that have really elevated his profile outside of football too. Like he did Dancing with the Stars. He's done a lot of like really good charitable stuff that people know about.
Yeah.
It's tough for an organization to move on from him, but we know from our own situation with Brian Dawkins, sometimes the organization makes a decision that when it's time to start looking towards the future, whether it's right or wrong, sometimes those guys are the guys that end up, moving on. And do I think that they would move him to a team like the Eagles so that he has a chance to kind of move on and continue to succeed? Out of conference, yes.
Super Bowl contender.
Absolutely.
Hey, we gave them We let them have Dawkins. Give us.
Yeah,
one.
seriously.
Yeah, they fucking
It's
owe
only
us
fair.
for that.
Arm for an
It's only
arm.
fair. It's only fair. Arm for an arm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do it. Do it. But
Helps the Patriots out a little bit.
It's hard to say. I'd say there's more of a chance that they don't get rid of him, but I could be wrong. It's just gut feeling. Like I think they believe that they could still hang on to him and have a team next year, possibly. But who knows? I mean, they have young pieces, so I mean, maybe they feel like they can still, give up other assets like a Chris Harris. I feel like they're more willing to give away Chris Harris than they are in Von Miller. But
yeah, I think they end up keeping him. I think if he moves away from there, I think he looks towards retirement. I think he goes that route, especially knowing what he's already done as in football and out of it. I think it's more of a I'd rather walk away too soon than too early or too soon rather than late, and end up with a injury that you have to live with for the rest of your life.
Tom says he's gonna need you to disrupt the world on Sunday, Fletcher.
yes.
Message from Tom Arnone to Fletcher
Yes.
Cox.
Yes, you better hear it. He's on MGM commercials. You better hear it. You better see it.
Is that all we got for the tube?
And then Brodo was like, forever.
Forever.
Well, we can all agree that Jalen Ramsey is basically done, deleted.
I don't
gone.
think he's getting moved at
Yeah,
all.
he's
Yeah,
not getting moved.
yeah,
Yeah.
me neither.
They're too reluctant to move him. I mean, we'll see.
So I still
That
think
could be
he
a
gets
good thing for
moved.
them or a bad thing for
I
them. You know
still
what I mean?
think he gets moved, but I think it's going to be in the off season.
Yeah.
I think there's going to be a lot of headaches. I hope this doesn't turn into another Antonio Brown circus, but I kind of could see him. Like, I think he's kind of being patient now, Ramsey.
Yeah.
But I could see him as the season moves along, getting more and more impatient, particularly if that team has no success.
Mm-hmm.
I could see him very easily getting more and more impatient. So, I don't know. I mean, he does have a pretty dope quarterback that he's got on his roster right now.
Yeah,
though.
true.
Uncle
Took Nick
Rico.
Foles' job.
Uncle
Gardner
Rico.
Minshew is the man.
Took Nicky's
Who'd
job.
have thought that Uncle Rico would come back and take Napoleon's job? You know,
Uncle
You hate to see
Rico.
it.
hate to say it. Sequel. Hate to say it. Did anybody watch that special little thing that they did?
Nah,
Though
I did not.
it was
Yeah, I saw
so funny. If you
I
have to
missed
go
it.
back and check it out, it is really, really
About to
good.
watch it during the break.
Oh, it was so good. Well, it's like 6 or 7 minutes long, but it was
can
good.
fit it in.
It was very, very entertaining. Where do we want to go from here, fellas?
You want to go week 2? I mean, we started talking around the league anyway.
Do you have any? Yeah, I mean, let me ask you a question. Are you
Okay.
concerned with
Week
how
2,
good
week
the
5.
Are you concerned with how good the Buffalo is looking right now?
I'm not personally. We already played them and beat them.
Tough game though.
It is tough, but I think that outside of we already played them and beat them, which means if we ended up worst case splitting the series, I think elsewhere, if it came down to it, I think that getting Sam Darnold back, a team like that could beat them. I think that they could play down to somebody and lose, to where at that point it wouldn't matter for us, already having won the game against them.
This is my view on Buffalo. I think they're going to have a good record because their schedule is pretty cake. They haven't even faced the Dolphins yet, so they have 2 games still left facing the Dolphins and the Jets, and they're better than both of those teams.
They
So,
still
I
have to
mean,
play
with
the
defense
Redskins
alone.
and the Giants
The Redskins
too.
and Giants. So, I mean, they're going to have a good record. They're going to be one of those teams where their record is better than what they actually are. And I say this not because I love their defense, but I'm sorry, I'm still not a Josh Allen believer. Like, there's so many things about that guy where, yeah, he has a strong arm, and yeah, he can run. But his nuances as a quarterback are still pretty bad. His decision-making as a quarterback are still pretty bad. So
See, I think that stuff can continue to develop, though. I mean, I'm looking at him building a pretty good rapport right now with John Brown, and I think him and John Brown are going to be a key for that team's success on offense as well.
But here, what happens first? Do teams figure you out, or do you figure it out, and do you progress?
And
past
here's the
it?
thing with John Brown, and
Like we can't forget that this guy had a great 6 weeks at the end of the year last year either. And he's rolling into it now this year with having some success early on. And he's still a young quarterback, so he's going to have
his success,
things that he's going to have
his
mistakes on
success,
and learn.
his success are what he's doing well right now, but he hasn't really improved as a quarterback, as a passer. Like his decision making is god awful. Like it's god awful, and like his deficiencies are getting overlooked because the Bills have a good team. And because he makes these highlight reel plays with these legs and his rocket arm down the field to Brown, where it's like, okay, like they're going to show that on the highlight reel, but they're not going to highlight and break down what he's doing wrong. And so, like, to me, with John Brown, and I've been high on John Brown since he was with the Cardinals his rookie season. The thing with him is right now he's at an age where, remember last year with the Ravens, he got off to a hot start. He was like their number 1 wide receiver through the first few weeks. As the season went on, he wore down, and now you're in a place where it's even colder, and like you're talking about Buffalo and a team that wants to kind of more grind it out with Frank Gore and Devin Singletary, because they have the defense. That's that's the type of offense you want to run. I don't see John Brown having the same type of production. Now Cole Beasley is something else. Like I can see Cole Beasley becoming more of the go-to guy. So I can see, but at the same time, I haven't seen any development from Josh Allen that really impresses me. I see the same things, and it's not really. I'm not a believer.
See, like I don't think that at this point this year for them to be a threat. I'm not saying they're going to dethrone the Patriots this year, but for them to be a threat and then maybe build some momentum in years to come. I agree with you. There's things he's going to have to learn on with decision making and some other things at the quarterback position. But that being said, I do feel like he's far enough along, and they have put pieces around him to where he can do a more than competent enough job with that defense that's built there that they could be a sleeper threat in the AFC for some of these football teams, including the Patriots.
So here's my issue. Pulling up their schedule, they play, let's see, they've got a bye this week, then they play the Dolphins, which they should win that game.
They're gonna win.
Then week 8.
I got that as a loss.
Week 8, they've got the Eagles, which I see the Eagles winning that game.
Yeah, I think
Then they play Redskins, Browns, which could both be losses. They're going to be both tighter games. Then
Redskins? No. Browns, yeah.
It could be. It could be, though. I'm not saying that they're going to run away with it, but it could be a game that you play down to. Then you've got the Dolphins, Broncos, Cowboys, Ravens, Steelers, Patriots, and then a healthy Jets, hopefully at the end of the year. So you've already played your easy part of the schedule. I'm not sleeping on them, but I'm not saying that they're going to finish out the rest of the season weak, but the test has still yet to be taken. I think that it's still coming up.
Absolutely, that's why I said I think their record. I think they end up. What? How many games is that? That rough stretch. They have that easy stretch, and after was it the Redskins?
So there's two different patches. They've got after the bye they play the Dolphins, and they play the Eagles, Redskins, Browns.
Okay.
And then they play the Dolphins again. Then after that they play Broncos, Cowboys, Ravens, Steelers, Patriots, Jets. Healthy at the end of the year. So
I could see them be around 10-6. And 10-6, 9-7, 10-6. So they'll have a winning record, and I think they could be in play for a wild card.
Right.
They absolutely could be in play for a wild card. I don't know. Josh Allen has to show me more. But I do like that defense a lot. You're talking about a defense that they work. They work well as a unit. Like Sean McDermott has them playing so well together. And it's not like they have a bunch of superstars. They have just a bunch of good, decent B-level players, but they all are B-level players, and they all work together well. So I love that defense. That's the offense that I'm not, and I have all this respect in the world for Frank Gore, but pardon me when I say this, he's not a great running back by any means. And Devin Singletary, he was impressive, but he's not healthy right now. He's got to get back healthy. So we'll see.
With the AFC North falling apart the way that it is with the Steelers and Browns, and obviously dumpster fire with the Bengals, I can see the Bills being a wild card team. I think they'll be up there in contention for it, but again, they have to play well against that back end stretch of teams in colder football. So we'll have to see.
Yeah, absolutely. Want to get into another game
Do you
before
guys
break? Or
Dan Saleo. You seeing that too?
Yeah, I have no clue who this dude is.
I don't either.
who's this?
He's verified though.
But he's verified, yeah.
He's a sports personality. He's reporting that the Browns are listening in on Odell Beckham Jr. for potential trades.
What?
And the 3 teams he listed are the Patriots, Eagles, and 49ers. And he's checked. He's verified. So I don't know how true this is. I had the same face that Crone did. I'm like, I don't know who this guy is. never heard of this dude ever before in my life.
Hey, I would gladly take OBJ. I
Yeah.
would gladly take OBJ.
I mean,
Nelson's pretty good, Cleveland.
I would
Nelson-
drive him to Cleveland
Oh,
myself.
me too.
Let's go
Hey.
road trip.
Patriots have an open roster
Oh,
spot.
shut up.
They
Yeah,
cut
shut
Ben
up.
Watson and they moved.
You can
another
have
piece
you
at
can
the
have
end.
Diggs. I'll take OBJ.
I can't.
Hey, that's good enough.
You can have
I guess
Diggs.
That's good enough.
I guess it's something to keep an eye on, but I'm not reporting that as a news because I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. I just
I
hypothetically-
can't
I don't-
imagine that they're that quickly going to roll out
Yeah.
on that. I
'Cause
mean,
what did they
I'd be
even
shocked.
give
I'm
up?
literally reading.
I would be shocked.
I literally read an article today on ESPN about how his teammates have said that the perception of him as an outsider to the actual teammate and guy he is so contrastingly different than what you would believe. Like, talk about how he gives rookies rides and he does all this different stuff to be a team leader and team guy. I can't imagine that he would be a guy that they would look to sell the piece off right away. They just put these pieces together.
Here's,
I mean,
here's
even
the
they don't
thing.
succeed this
Yeah, well,
year.
what did they even give up for OBJ? They gave up a first, right? I think a first and a
don't-
second.
I don't remember.
I don't see that happening.
It was,
So you gave up even if it was a first and a second, you're gonna move on that quick in
yeah,
5 weeks.
it's hard for me to believe.
You know what I mean?
I mean, I mean, we'll definitely. I appreciate it. Kyle sent us that, so we'll keep an eye on it. But
and this is
I don't know that I'm buying that.
what Chrome just said about like his reputation. Like this is what I've been saying since last year. Like people,
We're a long way from pizza and Coke and hookers.
like it. I think I talked about this on the show last
Hate to
year in
say
Birds
it.
of a Feather, where people wanted to blast OBJ and say he's immature, blah blah blah. He has his moments.
Well, I
but
mean,
he
did have a video out
no,
there.
no, no.
with
He has,
pizza, cocaine,
like I
and
said,
hookers.
he has his bad moments. Like he hasn't been squeaky, he hasn't been
He
squeaky
has
clean.
bad. Listen.
Let me finish.
Farting in public.
Let me finish. Like he has
Farting
his
in public
bad
is a
moments.
bad moment.
He has his bad moments, but
Doing
are you-
coke off of a hooker
are
with
you-
pizza. And
I am
eating
not
pizza
ready
is
to
a
put it on the.
big moment.
He's not on the same level as what like a Terrell Owens was in his heyday, or some other guys that got in trouble off the field. Like this guy, there's no teammate in New York on the Giants that said ill will of
Yeah, I don't
OBJ.
think anybody really
his
talks bad about
his
him.
not his fans, the fans outside of New York when he was with the Giants, especially from Philadelphia, like they gave him so much flack and looked at him like he was the worst person, like he was on the level of being a scumbag. But he wasn't. Like when you go that far with the criticism of OBJ, like that's where it's like, okay, calm down a little bit. He's immature and he gets overly emotional. He gets way overly emotional. But the kicking that thing, that's ridiculous and everything. But is he
Pissing
is
on
he
the
is he like is he a scumbag, or is he someone who is like a team obliterator who is going to cause drama in the locker room, get into fights with his teammates and stuff like that? No, he wants to win. He's an emotional guy that wants to win and wants to be great. And I think that concerning the leadership on this team, if OBJ was available to us and we needed someone like that, I would gladly take him. And I've said that even when he was a Giant. I said, we hate OBJ because we play against him twice a year, and he's on the Giants. But I would take him in a heartbeat if we could get him on the Eagles.
Here's my thing is it's
We got to take a break. Get that after your point. Go ahead.
it's not unrealistic right now for the Browns to sell on him with the way that their season is going. I mean,
But he's not
with-
the problem.
right, but he could be the means to a solution if you have Landry playing high and you can get 2-3 guys for him to fill your slots with the wild card race wide open. With
It's counterintuitive. I know we have to go big, but it's counterintuitive when you traded for OBJ, but then you also traded one of your better offensive linemen to that same team. So it's kind of counterintuitive. I don't see.
So let's continue this on the other side. Real quick, Craig Joseph says, I'd rather have Landry. Bill Motorbrook says the Patriots love guys like Gordon, Brown, and Moss. John Skill asked us a question about the Vikings wide receivers that we'll answer on the other side. When we do preview the Minnesota game, we'll touch a little bit more on week 5. And obviously, we're just kind of throwing some random things out here. I feel like I'm on lazy booking. We just get off the rails quite a bit on there. But yeah, on the other side, we'll go over all that stuff. We'll talk about what you guys were just talking about. First half of the show brought to you by Gibson Mayer, our certified public accountants, making them yours, GibsonMayer.com. Obviously, our topic of conversation brought to you by our doctor, Dr. Paul Vidal at Specialized Physical Therapy, SpecializedPhysicalTherapy.com. If you're on Twitter, Instagram, and Periscope, guys, make the jump to the Facebook or the YouTube. Like, subscribe, follow, whatever you got to do. Get in the conversation. It's hot tonight, and we'll make sure that we continue to talk with you guys. So we're going to take our break. We'll see you guys in a few minutes.
Hi, folks. Bob Mannery here. You're listening to A2D Radio, real sports talk radio for the fans, by the fans, no agenda. These guys are the best in the business. Hashtag it. No notes. Hi, folks. Bob Mannery here. You're listening to A2D Radio, real sports talk radio for the fans, by the fans, no agenda. These guys are the best in the business. Hashtag it. No notes. Hi, folks. Bob Mannery here. You're listening to A2D Radio, real sports talk radio for the fans, by the fans, no agenda. These guys are the best in the business. Hashtag it. No notes.
What up, fam? Birds of a Feather is back from our break here from the Real Talk Studios on a2dradio.com. Again, brought to you by Gibson Mayer, LLC, our certified public accountants. What? Did I disregard you?
No. Just go ahead.
Gibson Mayer, LLC. We got to work on our chemistry, Ralph. I didn't even give him the chance to point at me. I just went. I heard the mic turn on, and I just rolled.
It's kind of ignorant, to be honest.
It's not ignorant. It's rude. Ignorant is not knowing any better. But you're a Laker crumb, and I don't take orders from you, Ralph.
I love you.
I love you too, buddy. We're brought to you by Gibson Mayer LLC, our certified public accountants. Make them yours. GibsonMayer.com. Our topic of conversation: the defensive pass rush looked good this week. Is back. Is that what it was?
It's good again.
It's good again. It's back. Agree,
Same thing,
disagree.
same thing.
That's brought to you by our doctor, Dr. Paul Vidal, over at Specialized Physical Therapy in Burlington, Cherry Hill, Princeton, New Jersey, and find him on the web, specializedphysicaltherapy.com. No appointment necessary. Go see the doc.
The Doc.
The doc.
Doc Brown.
He's pretty awesome.
Just kidding.
No. But yeah, guys, we're back. Second half. And when we went to break, John Skeel had asked us, can the Eagles maintain the Vikings wide receivers? We can only hope so. I mean, that's the only answer I have.
Can the Eagles what?
Maintain the Vikings wide receivers.
We haven't been able to contain any style.
Yeah, I mean, that's the honest to God answer. We can only hope so. I don't really think there needs to be an in-depth analysis of that. We've point, and I think we did touch on it if you missed it earlier, John.
Yeah.
Where Chuck's had the idea, maybe not focus so much on clogging the box or loading up the box to stop the run, and drop somebody like Malcolm back more in coverage or more as protection over the top to give them another man back to defend.
We're not going to completely shut them down. It's more of a can we
only
slow
hope
them
to maintain or contain
them.
I can't. I don't know. One of those teen words.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing is you have to, I think, not worry so much about shutting them down, but shutting Cook down first. That way they can't open up their pass game, which they try to do, and make them try to, make the field a little skinnier than what it is. That way you don't have to worry about the deep ball, the guys like Diggs and Thielen.
Yeah. What was the stat you just pulled up? What I thought was pretty hilarious, actually.
So far through the first 5 games, the Jets' offense has 718 yards. Christian McCaffrey has 866.
Yeah, and he has more yards from scrimmage than Zeke and Gurley combined, too. Yep.
Wow.
Yeah. To which Todd Gurley did retweet and say, "Keep us out of this, LOL. McCaffrey is unstoppable. Keep beasting, brother." So he's at least showing support. Hey, man, running backs usually they support each other.
So we're in week 5. We're still recapping week 5. Do we want to talk about the Dallas
Yes, of course we do.
football Cowboys? Where's Harlem Cowboy at?
Oh, because they lost.
Pretty quiet, huh?
Where's
he's
Jesse,
not
whatever
here.
that guy's name
Jesse
is?
was in the chat.
Was he?
What?
Yeah, he said one thing. I'll pull it up real quick on Facebook.
I heard he left the group.
He said Vikings by 7. Oof.
Of course he says that.
Where
Phone is back on.
I must have missed that comment.
I heard he left the Real Talk group.
Did he?
That's right. That's what
So-
James posted.
All right. All right. He says by 7. Yeah, so he's not expecting them to blow us out. I guess that's a step in the right direction. What did you guys take away from the Green Bay and Cowboys game this week?
The fact that there's a lot. Well, one.
Listen, I'll give the Cowboys credit. They started to make a game of it down the stretch.
Well, yeah.
It looked like they were going to get absolutely wiped.
Yeah.
The floor was going to be wiped with them. They looked like they were going to be run out of the building.
Well, the refs did give them a few gimme calls, but outside of that, they were fighting back. The Packers defense was, for some reason, willing to give up the deep ball or big plays with questionable coverages and boneheaded plays. So I mean, that's neither here or there. Like, unfortunately, that didn't cost them the game. But that goes to show kind of also, like, when it gets late in the game, people wanna like bash and criticize, like, prevent when teams go to prevent. Well, you go to prevent for stuff like that, because if you don't play prevent and you get beat over the top for a big play, the offense scores real quick and gets back into the game. All of a sudden, you're in a thing. Like, you have to try to.
You'd rather have a team.
You'd rather have a team
Well,
eat up time.
You'd rather have a team eat up clock and maybe have more of a potential of only giving up 3 as opposed to giving up the deep 7
real quick. Yeah, that's
makes a lot of sense.
Exactly and that's what happened with Amari Cooper on that play. They're playing they're playing cover 3 with Jair Alexander pretty much on an island and press man against Amari Cooper. Amari Cooper runs a double move, burns him, makes 2 defenders miss to the house. I mean, that's why defenses play soft late in games when they have a good lead. And, that's why I find it always comical that fans are like, why are you playing so soft? Play up. It's a fourth quarter. You have a 2-touchdown lead. Like, calm down. You want to chew up clock. But anyways, my other takeaways was, 1, Aaron Jones has become a really, really good running back. And he's going, like, I actually, there's another thing that was just posted that's been going around. It's talking about the 2017 draft class and, like, all the running blacks. God, running backs from that class, all the studs they have coming out of that class, including Donnell Pumphrey. Just kidding.
Who's he with now?
I don't even know. He's in California.
Let's Google it.
But
let's find out where Donnell is.
I don't think he's anywhere. But like, out of that class, there's so many great names, and Aaron Jones is one of them. I think he was drafted in the 5th or 6th round, and he was like, Aaron Jones has been great. Like, he's developed and become one of the better running backs in the league. And
poor Donnell, he's a free agent.
He's a free agent. Yeah, he's not with anyone.
Hate to say it.
But like, look back. I believe that Aaron Jones is the best running back Aaron Rodgers has had the pleasure of playing with.
1,000%.
Right? Like, I'm going back and I'm trying to think, okay, who did he have? Like, Eddie Lacy, like, he was good for a year before he started gaining weight and became Cheeseburger Eddie. Like, but like, even that one good year he had
that Ralph Smorgasbord.
He wasn't, that one good year he had, it wasn't nearly as close as what Aaron Jones has been. Like, it's good. You start to see what Aaron Rodgers Packers team can do when he has
a running game
and a defense. Now, the defense has been kind of like not as great the past 2 weeks. We ran on them, and the Cowboys were able to throw on them late. But there's something they did against the Cowboys still was for 3 quarters pretty much shut them down until they started playing boneheadedly. And they also were creating turnovers. Like, that's something past Packers defenses weren't able to do. So I like that. I still believe that the Packers have a solid defense. They might not be elite, but they have a much improved defense, and they have a non-Mike McCarthy offense. That's an offense that actually has purpose, has some creativity, has some, like, modern elements to it, concepts to it, to make it not vanilla. Well, and I love that.
I mean, you talk about Aaron Jones. It's not a surprise, but I think we talked about this coming into the year, right? And I think I said to you guys that, it seems like every running back in Green Bay has like a 2-year window where they're decent or good, and then the wheels fall off. And I think I said to you, my hesitation with Aaron Jones is the trend of running backs with Aaron Rodgers. And maybe because they pass the football a lot more, there's not the focus on the run. And again, it's a different offense. And that was a point we brought up at the beginning of the year as well. But I'm with you. I think I said at the beginning of the year, if there's a running back that I believe could break that mold, it's Aaron Jones. I do think he could be a special talent. I would like to see. I mean, he hasn't been consistent yet this year. I mean, he had a monster game this week, but he's had a couple of games early this year too where, there wasn't a whole lot of his name being called. So I definitely think this week he showed what he can do if he's a focal point of the offense. And I agree with you. I mean, I like Aaron Jones.
Yeah, I think he's benefiting from an older Aaron Rodgers. We're starting to see, not that he's older amongst all quarterbacks in the league with Breeze and Brady being up there, but you're starting to see him not put 50 balls in the air every game and try to throw those Hail Mary passes all the time. They're expanding the game to make his career last a lot longer than what pure pocket passers have in the past. So I think that I agree with you that it's going to trend to where Aaron Jones is there for 3, 4, 5 years and can produce as well, if not better, than the elite out there right now.
Yeah, no, and that's a fair point you brought about older quarterbacks too. When you look at Drew Brees and you look at what's that schmuck's name, Tom Brady, and even when you go back and you look at Peyton Manning late in his career and the focus on the running game with these guys, so they don't have to go out and sling it 50 times.
Sean Moreno.
Yeah. I mean,
yep.
There was some success with a lot of these guys, and a focal point had to be the running game. And maybe with the coaching regime change, and understanding where Aaron Rodgers is at in his career now, they are looking to try to come up with ways to prolong his ability to still play at a high level. And you're spot on. When you look at what Brees had Kamara and Ingram. I mean, damn. He's still got a great running game behind him. The Patriots seem to find it although Sony Michel has not been very good this year.
He had a breakout game this past week, but again,
he might lose his job. I mean, there's rumors that he might end up, losing his job.
That's the Patriots. They cycle through running. A few years ago it was Deion Lewis, and then he got hurt. Then it was James White, and then after that they moved to Rex Burkhead. Then shortly after that they went to Sony Michel last year, drafting him, and then they cycle through running backs. That's why I'd never draft the Patriots running back, because it's not about talent, it's about who's the freshest guy.
Well,
That's the truth.
I draft Sony Michel this year, and he's a crumb. Should have expected it with that.
5-0, don't care.
Yeah, he does.
Just fixing your sleeve here, buddy.
But it is true.
He said I was gonna rip it.
Bill Belichick has said Bill Belichick has said when it comes to running back position, for him it's about who's the freshest, who's the healthiest.
Yeah.
So that's why
for all intents and purposes,
never
we run a
picked him.
similar thing now where we run, ultimately like a running back by committee. Which, by the way, we didn't get into that conversation, but it's been talked about a lot. I've seen you post a lot about it on social media. So let's talk about it. Jordan Howard becoming more of a focal point of the running game at this point. Are we happy with what we've seen from him over the last couple weeks? I already know the answer is going to be yes, because he's utilized properly.
Yes.
Do you think because of the way they're utilizing him, this will allow Miles Sanders to play his position more suited to his talent? The East-West running shit is killing me. I'm not going to lie.
Yes.
It is brutal.
You're talking about the run plays, right?
Yes,
yeah.
but for his and even when he tries to go north and south, it's the Corey Clement effect. He's very impatient when he runs up to the line and does not allow.
I wouldn't say to that extent, but yeah,
he does not allow the line to develop as it should.
What it is
with
with Sanders, and
it's great catching the ball out of the backfield.
Oh yeah. This is
I mean, no complaints about that whatsoever.
This is my thing on Sanders and the Howard situation, and I've said it numerous times. I wrote an article about it last week, but I'm going to reiterate again because I know, Chrome, you weren't here last week, it's gotten to the point where Sanders, you obviously see that he still needs time. Like his vision is getting better. His decision-making is getting better. He's more disciplined than he was in week 1. And I say that with confidence because I've gone back. You guys know, especially when it comes to Eagles running backs, I go back and watch every single snap on the coach's film. I've charted their plays, and I have stats. I provided them last week on how lining up in single back, both Howard and Sanders had more success running downhill in single back formation than in shotgun. Both of them did. So it's the truth that both of them have more success in traditional formation than shotgun. And running east to west isn't beneficial to either of them. When it comes to Sanders, he's gotten better when it comes to decision making and vision. He's more disciplined. He's not bouncing everything outside. Anyone who says he always runs outside still, that's absolutely false. What the bad thing is now he's running inside too much. And what I mean by that is he's running to the design of the run play. Like if a run play is supposed to go up the A gap, or if it's supposed to be an inside zone, and you're supposed to pick out what you call a bounce, bang, bounce, bang, or bounce, or cut back lane on a zone run. Those are the three options. He's hitting up the right hole, where it's supposed to be designed. However, when you guys know in football, the design of the run play doesn't always work out. It's not always there. The lane is not always there. The defenses know how to play defense, and they clog those up. What Sanders is doing is he's following the design of the run play now. He's become more disciplined, but he's not. His vision isn't what we call widescreen yet. Like, he's not able to see the whole field where, okay, if the design isn't there, or if the original lane is only getting 1 or 2 yards, am I able to see and create or see another lane develop on the cutback or elsewhere that will give me more yards? So he's become to the point where he's getting what's blocked, but he's not creating and doing what the elite running backs do and seeing the whole field and saying, oh, this is not working. Let me create something for myself and hit this lane on the outside. Let me hit this cutback. Let me press the line of scrimmage, lure these linebackers in, and then create this for myself here on the outside so I can get 20 yards as opposed to 3. So Sanders is not doing that right now. He's not, and that's what we need from him is the big play because he's a big play guy. When it comes to Howard, he's doing a lot better right now at running downhill because that's his game. That's always been his skill set is running downhill. If you get him going east to west, it's not going to work with Howard. That's why the shotgun stuff, the RPO stuff, wide zone is not working with Howard. Was not working with Howard weeks before. Past 2 weeks, you see him. He's running between the tackles on all those, whether it's shotgun or single back, and he's running them well. He's getting consistent yards, which is what Howard is. He's not getting the big play, but he's getting consistent yards. And when it comes to this offense, without Deshaun Jackson, we're no longer a big play offense. We don't have a big play element. For some reason, they don't use Aguilar as a deep threat. For God knows, I don't know why, but they don't. So since they're not using it as a deep threat, this is a methodical kind of offense where they're getting little by little yards so that you guys have seen it. How many times we're great on third down? Well, how many third and longs do we get into? Not a lot. Why? Because we're getting little by little on each down to make our third downs 3rd and 4, 3rd and 3, 3rd and short, right? So when you have that type of offense, Howard is the primary guy that you want because he will get consistent 4 yards, 3 yards, 4 yards, 5 yards. He'll get the consistent yards. With Sanders, he's not getting that. So what you have to do, it's the best decision of the offense right now to give the ball and run it in power concepts between the tackles with Howard and keep Sanders as your kind of dynamic passing down guy and then let him develop. If you're going to run the ball with Sanders, stop doing zone plays because on zone schemes, what that calls for is a running back with great vision. Like I said, you have the bounce, you have the bang, or the cutback. You have to have for a zone play, you have to have a running back with the vision to be able to see and anticipate those lanes. When you have gap concepts, you are asking the running back to hit a certain gap. You give him this assignment saying, this is the gap you're going to attack between the guard and the tackle or between the center and the guard. This is going to develop this way. This is what you're hitting. Go. So if you remember in the Packers game, the long run that Sanders had, it was on a wham play where he was supposed to hit, I believe, the B gap and go. That's what he did. He knew exactly where he was supposed to be. There was no having to decide and wait for anything. It was just use your explosiveness and hit that hole full speed because it's going to open up. And that's what he did. That's where he was able to hit that long run. If you're going to run with Sanders, you have to make the game easier for him because his mental processing isn't there yet. Make the game easier for him. Use power concepts. Continue to use them in the passing game, and use Howard as your primary ball carrier. And I've said it since the summer. It's kind of like you have to use them kind of like how the Saints used Mark Ingram and Alvin Kamara. Mark Ingram was the primary ball carrier, while Kamara was the movable chess piece in space. Do that. I'm not saying they're the same level of back, but those are the roles that you want to aim for each of these running backs. You do that, and you're going to have success with both of them, but you have to make sure you're using both of them right. If you're not using both of them right, neither of them are going to have success.
People also forget that this isn't Howard's his first year. Howard has already proven that he can be a feature back, that he can lead a team, and they can be run first through him like he was with the Bears. Sanders is coming in, learning a whole new offense. Not that Howard is not, but whole new play type with being in the NFL. That nobody expected him to come in and be the starting running back off the bat. If you did, then you got to realize that.
I might disagree with that.
I'm
with you, but there's a lot of people that thought this kid was going to take the job right from day one.
Right,
Let's be realistic.
Yeah, a lot of people
This
did.
is what
A
we
lot
do
of
in
people did.
Philadelphia. Is we crown guys before
And
they
they
even
also
step on the fucking
they also
field.
wanted Jordan Mailata to be the starter.
Well,
last
I
year.
mean,
Yeah.
listen, Jordan Mailata is the GOAT. You bite your damn tongue, and you watch your mouth when you talk about
They
Jordan.
also wanted to trade Aguilar so that J. Jaw can come in
We
and
still do.
be the third wide receiver, right?
Oh, man, he's...
I'm not
He is
even
not
I'm not even
good.
targeting you. I'm saying like there are other people that.
Oh, no, I mean, I'm still on the trade
Yeah,
Aguilar
no.
bandwagon.
No.
I haven't
No.
come off of that.
No. I know you are. More so, my point is like even J.J. Arcega-Whiteside, even though he had one great preseason game, he's shown he's not ready. But that's okay. Like
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that.
That's perfectly okay. There was one guy that online was saying like, oh, J-Jaw, he's been excuse my French, he's been dog shit. I'm just like, he hasn't been dog shit. He's just a rookie wide receiver. Like, what do you expect? Like, it takes time for some of these guys.
Especially on a team that has options. It's not like you're going out and getting, when OBJ was in New York. It's not like he's the only option that
Exactly.
you have to expect the ball.
Exactly.
That you have to build a chemistry there. It's for me, it's the same thing with the Patriots. I love Jacoby Myers, who is almost identical to Edelman, late round undrafted type guy. QB converted over to a receiver. A guy that can take hits up the middle, but
Don't they always draft guys like that?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yes, but he's a guy that
It's kind of their thing.
he's a guy that Brady. I think he may have like under 50% catch rate, in the regular season by Brady, just because they don't play together. He's not on the field enough with all those other options. You run into the same thing with JJ and Wentz. There's so many other things out there, especially with having guys like Ertz and Goddard that he likes so much underneath, where he would be used.
Yeah, exactly.
Ralph, you have anything you want to contribute to this, buddy? You've been quiet. I'm not used
reading
to
stuff.
your mouth being this closed.
I think he's
this long.
He's soaking in
He
the
talked
Ben
more
Simmons
about the
3.
smorgasbord of a layout of food that he had during the game than anything else on this show. And I want to hear from you, Ralph. What do you feel about Jordan Howard and the way that he's being utilized now, and maybe that opening up, maximizing Miles?
Well, we're finally using them in the right spots. I should say that.
Yes,
the third
short
down
yards.
and shorts,
Yes.
on the goal line especially. We've been waiting for this, about 3 weeks now, from week 1 to week 3. We're pounding our heads against the wall, asking Doug, where's, you brought Jordan Howard in for short yards, to get the short yards, to get the third down and twos, the second down and thirds or
He's
threes.
the power back.
Yeah, and you're not using them for the first 3 weeks of the NFL season. And now week 4, and you saw the Green Bay game, dude. He just went off. He had the hot hand. Doug stayed with the hot hand, and he completely went off, and I loved it. But the other thing about Miles is that, like you were saying, Miles it seems like he catches everything out of the backfield. Everything. That little nice wheel route he had against the Jets this weekend.
He's so good on the
where
wheel
he caught
routes.
he caught it on the sideline and got 20 yards after the catch. That was nice. Almost had to put the plastic back up on my wall. It was nice. It was nice.
I gotta say I'll say this about Miles
And
Sanders.
then Corey Clement comes in and does Corey Clement things.
Remember when he was a thing?
Yeah, I loved it. You can't make fun of the local guys, the local boy guys. Can't make fun of the local guys.
Can't make fun of him at all.
I love it.
Another Super
Terrible.
Bowl hero. Can't talk about him.
Can't talk
Yeah.
about it.
God
God forbid.
I'll
Never
say,
hit the dude's foot, Corey. What are you doing? He was 10 yards away from the ball, Corey. I love it.
I'll say this: when you're live and watching Miles Sanders, and like you talk about that wheel route, dude, when you watch him live running and doing those kind of plays,
Young
I
boy can
swear to
scoot,
God,
man.
dude, it's almost like he's gliding across
He
the
fast.
field.
Really?
It's like it almost feels like he runs so quick and so smooth that it's like watching a hockey player skate on the rink. It's like he just glides on the field.
He's fast.
Which,
man.
I mean, you can kind of see it on TV, but seeing it live for the first time was pretty impressive. And he is very, very quick. I mean, I think the future's definitely bright for him. But now I'm intrigued because if we have a season like this with Jordan Howard and him, do you bring Jordan Howard back next year? And I know we don't want to get into the whole, we don't want to
we can
start
talk
thinking
about it. We can talk about
forward thinking of next year. But, I mean, a lot of people were looking at this guy when we bought him in as a potential rental player for a year, maybe a stopgap until Miles might be ready next year. You go out and, you get somebody else. But if he produces at this level that he is and fills this role this way, you have to talk about bringing this guy back. Am I right?
I think that someone had commented on the Real Talk group, and we were engaged in conversation about it. I wouldn't be opposed to it at all, but it also depends on the asking price, like how much he's going to ask for, because it all comes down to now getting guys cheaper. And we all know the running back position. Like, if you don't have an elite talent, you can find these, the good to decent guys. They're replaceable. Elite talents aren't replaceable, but the everyone else below them are. You can find them undrafted, 7th round, 6th rounds. So, like, when it comes to Jordan Howard, if he's cheap enough, bring him back because he knows his role. If it works well with Sanders, which I believe it will, the two of them are scary together. I would bring him back, but with Wentz's contract hitting those high marks in 2 years, how much leeway are you willing to? How much money are you willing to give him, knowing that if he's asking for a certain amount, I can maybe get more by draft. I can get a bargain by drafting a power back, and on day 3 of the draft next year, and have that guy on a rookie contract for the next 4 years, as opposed to paying Jordan Howard a couple million for the next 2-3 years. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's tough because I love Jordan Howard in this role, I really do. But it all just comes down to finances and the situation with Wentz's contract.
Yeah, that was the one thing that Bill had brought up was, why are we not running Howard harder now, knowing that he is only in here for a year and he quite possibly could be replaced easily, especially if you're already used to the past 2 or 3 years running a stable of backs and you already have a rotation and you're expecting Sanders to take off in a more predominant role either late this year or for the foreseeable future. Wouldn't it be more beneficial to go out and get a guy, use him for all he's got now, because you really have two things that come into play: is not only the pay but health. If he's running up the gap and running as well as he is now, you're going to keep running him harder, especially if you make a late run. Do you start to see signs like a Gurley in him, being that this is the only type of play he's got is the hard nose up the middle type stuff?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, it's to me.
Let me answer that. Why don't you do that? Because I don't know that they know that this guy's a rental player yet. I think the jury's out on this guy. And that being said, we're not going to grind him out early in the year. We're going to need to have these guys rotated and fresh for the postseason. We saw what happened early in the Super Bowl year with LeGarrette Blount. They overutilized LeGarrette Blount, and he, for all intents and purposes, was a rental player. He was a guy that we bought in for 1 year. And we knew he was essentially going to be here for 1 year. And they took that approach. And had they not gone out and got Jay Ajayi, I don't know that the running game would have lasted through the whole season.
Yeah.
They ended up having to go outside of the organization when Sproles got hurt because they needed to be able to preserve a guy like that. So I don't believe that you can just run this guy into the ground saying, we only have him for 1 year. Let's squeeze all the juice out of the lemon that we have.
Especially if, like, with the type of running Howard does, it's physically demanding. Like, the running back position is already physically demanding. Like, you're getting hit. You are getting hit every play. But with power backs, they're so much more susceptible to the physical punishment. Like, how much are you willing? Like, maybe it could be a case where Doug and them know they're going to need Jordan Howard late in the year when the weather gets colder, games get longer. You are going to have to pound the rock, and they might know that we're going to need all hands on deck, including Jordan Howard, who is our grinder, to be there, to be available. And so maybe beginning of the year, because we will have to realize.
Again, that
It's
was
not like-
proven the
that was
Super Bowl
proven- yeah,
year
the
with
Super Bowl
LeGarrette
year.
and Blunt.
So it's not. People have to realize that like teams don't often have everything figured out week one. How a team looks week one is different how they look week 17. So it's like Fran Duffy from the Eagles. He does all the media stuff for the Eagles. He's great. He was talking to Greg Cosell. He was like, week 1, week 2, week 3. It's kind of like the trial and error period for some teams. They try certain things the first few weeks of the season to see what they can and can't do. So it could have been a thing where let's see what we can do with Miles. Let's see what Miles can do in this offense because he's the future. Let's see what he's capable of and then go from there because they already know what they have in Howard. I'm not saying that was definitely it. None of us really know, but that could have been a possibility. Regardless, we're seeing now them getting to a groove of how they want to use both of them. And it's something that I think a lot of us have been talking about. Like, you know, on my scouting report with Sanders, I said he had the potential to be a receiving back. And I said when Howard was here, his role is going to be the short yardage guy, get him in there. And now we're starting to see that. And I think that the coaches are going to be using them in those roles going forward. And I know there was a report today about how, you know, like you said, how it's going to be the lead back going forward. I think it's more open than that. It's not so much black and white where he's the lead back. He's going to get 25 carries. It's done. I think it's more of like he's going to be the primary ball carrier on the ground, but things could always change week to week depending on game planning.
And that's what I
flow.
think what's going to happen.
Yeah, it's like it's just like if we get down 21-0 in the third quarter, you think we're going to be running the rock 20 times in the quarter? Yeah. We're not. We're not going to. We're going to start to open it up, and then that's going to call for more Sanders and Sproles in the passing game. So.
Maybe I'm misinterpreting this. Maybe I'm not. He's talking about Jordan Howard.
Yeah.
So he says we're going to need a lot of help next year with all these old. This is Bill. And usually I'm kind of along with Bill, but I think you're way off base on here, Bill. He says, well, after what they've showed us, he's already gone. We're going to need a lot of help next year when all these old-ass injured players are gone. Listen to what you're saying. Seriously, save him. You play for a bye. That's just dumb. They're showing, by the way, they use the 2. He's gone. Absolutely no doubt. First of all, what you're saying makes no sense. And he says, Kev, please explain how the Patriots use Sony and White.
So as far as the way that we, our backs go is everything is week by week basis. Right. It's who's working for me right now.
So that's okay. So that's what we're saying, right? Go ahead.
And even outside of that, it's even a little bit more because we have, just like you guys, we have 3 backs. Brandon Bolden scored for us. So
yeah, Brandon Bolden.
So we've got. And then we have got Devlin, who's on the IR,
yeah.
And we have Burkhead, who's also hurt right now, and he's a week-to-week hurt. He's a week-to-week scratch guy, and depending on who else is healthy. So we almost look exactly like the Eagles. It's really who depends on who's doing what. But again, with Devlin being out, we don't have a bruiser like Howard does, though.
Right.
Both Sony Michel and White. And even Bolden, they can all catch out the backfield. Michelle's the biggest out of the 3, so you see him the most because he is.
But he's not even a power back.
But he's not.
He's a slasher.
Yeah, like I say, he's the biggest out of the 3, but that doesn't mean that he's a Howard. So it's a little bit unfair to compare the 2 because we don't have a guy like Howard. The last time we did, it was
Blunt.
It was Blunt, and he led the league in rushing touchdowns when we won the Super Bowl. So in that case, that's what the Patriots do. We use you, we as the Patriots squeeze you for everything you've got because we know that we've got 5 players per position. As far as the Eagles, I think that that's what they end up doing, but not for that reason that they're wanting to get everything out. I think it's very money motivated for you guys, that because there's, you don't have a Tom Brady. Let's face it, that question mark is not there for us. We have guys that are taking less and less money all the time that be on the Patriots, that I don't think you always run into an issue with the Eagles to where you might have to pay Howard. So why don't we go out there and use him, like Bill's saying, run him as hard as we can, because we know that we have to pay him, but we know that we have other options. So get everything out we can right now and then ship him off next season. Is that what they're going to do? I think it's still yet to be seen. Is it feasibly an option? I think so, from Bill's point of view.
See, I disagree, because we've seen how they run an offense in 2017 when they have healthy running backs. And they had healthy running backs because they rotated guys. They didn't constantly run the same guy into the ground, so that when January football hits,
they're both fresh.
Guys are fresh. They did that at points in the midseason with Jay Ajayi.
Yeah.
Then they did it, and they ran Ajayi more and preserved LeGarrette Blount.
Yeah.
And you didn't know if either one of those guys was going to be back after that year. And then there was times where freaking Corey Clement, when the 1 year he had where he did something.
Last year,
they utilized him more. It makes, to sit here and say we're playing for the bye and we're just going to grind this one guy into the ground because he's not coming back next year. It's so short-sighted and not looking at the big picture.
What happened last year with the Rams and Todd Gurley? They ran him so much during the
Look what
regular
happened
season.
playoff time when that happened.
Look what happened playoff time.
I'll tell you what,
Where
a
was
healthy Todd Gurley would have made a big difference in that
difference.
Super Bowl.
They win the Super Bowl. I'm sorry to say, I'm objectively speaking.
Yeah, no, I get where you're coming
if
from.
Todd Gurley is Todd Gurley during the Super Bowl, the
That's
Rams,
a different ball game.
it's a different ball game. The Rams have a very good chance of winning that. That offense was scoring 30-plus points a game when Todd Gurley was running like the best running back in the league. It was unstoppable.
Bill says, that's my point. The Patriots had Howard. They'd be using the shit out of him. Thanks, Kev. Pretty obvious. And Blount won a Super Bowl that year with the Pats. And then he said, and then you're playing more games. I'm not done yet. Hold on. And they said you're playing more games. The Patriots love 2 wins and then something. I can't understand.
No,
but here's the thing, Bill. We didn't use LeGarrette Blount the same way, and we still won a Super Bowl with LeGarrette Blount.
Even when
by utilizing him the way that we're talking about.
Kevin, correct me if I'm wrong. The year that Blount was the lead back, right? The year that he was the lead back for you guys and he led the league in touchdowns, was he getting 20, 25 carries a game, or was he getting more so like around 15?
More so around 15.
We ran.
Point.
There's the point.
We ran.
The lead back.
He had an insane year that year.
So
he was getting like how many average yards per carry?
If you go back and look, we created, not to take credit for it because I think they do it a little bit better as far
they
as
create stuff. We get it.
We created what you saw in Ingram and Kamara.
Yeah. With rotating with yes.
Right.
You have a power back and then you have a complementary pass catching back.
But I think but I think that they did it more heavy on.
Yes, Bill. To answer your question, yes, I do believe that.
But I think they did it more heavy on the downs that they needed to, whereas they still, with the Eagles, it's more tossed up, right? So on downs that you have a little bit of a shorter yardage gain, Sanders might be in there where a lot of people were saying, it should be Howard.
It should be Howard.
Right. Whereas the Patriots, you knew if it was 2, 3, even 4 yards, that if Blount's on the field, he's getting the ball. I think that's more so Bill's point. It's why are we not using him when we know it's guaranteed that should be his play versus, let's see what everyone else can do in the situation to preserve
based
him.
on what Bill and a lot of people have been calling for Howard, is you're getting the impression that a lot of this fan base wants Howard to carry the ball 25 times a game.
And that's the difference.
That's not going to happen. Jay Ajayi last year was deemed and named before the season started as the lead back of this committee. However, how many carries did he get before he got hurt for the rest of the season? He was getting around 15. It was 12 to 15 carries. A lead back in committee, in terms of what Philadelphia and Doug Peterson does, They only get 12 to 15 carries a game. They don't get 25. They don't use a volume runner. They still rotate guys. You can still be – there's a difference between a workhorse and an elite.
The only teams that run guys like that are clearly for reasons.
Cowboys.
The Dallas Cowboys. The Jets
Jaguars.
with Le'Veon Bell.
Jaguars.
The Jaguars. Who?
And
The Giants with
Giants with
Saquon.
Saquon.
Who, by the way, Saquon's hurt.
Jaguars.
I mean, you look at it's all these guys are special talents, elite talents. Jordan Howard is not an elite talent that you could say if we grind everything here, he could produce that kind of production. It makes no sense. He's like a second, maybe third tier guy. So in reality, it makes more sense to maximize the rotation. I'm sorry, committee was the word I couldn't think of.
Yeah.
To maximize the committee, and you're right. There is definitely opportunities and times where he should be the lead back in running the football where they've used Miles Sanders. I also think that early in the year they've looked at that as opportunities to see if Miles Sanders can be that guy. And I think that's why now they've seen enough of a sample size to say, all right, we're getting to that point now where we know that it's going to be assured that Jordan Howard is going to be that guy who, when we need to pick up those chunks of yards or we're deep into the red zone and we need to pound the rock, he's going to be the guy. But they wanted to give Miles a shot to see what he could do.
Bill, he goes in all caps. No, he's not elite. Just top 3 in yards since 16. That is the only. Wait, hold on. That is the only stat that these Jordan Howard truthers ever throw out there when they're defending Jordan Howard and making a case for him being elite. Okay, he's top 3 in rushing yards since 16. You want to look at the rushing yards in each year and itemize them? He's declined in each season. So stop throwing that out there. He lost his job in Chicago, was traded away in favor of Tariq Cohen and David Montgomery. Stop acting like he's elite. If he was some kind of elite running back like a Todd Gurley, a Zeke, an Alvin Kamara, Christian McCaffrey, he'd still be in Chicago. Just because I'm saying he's not elite doesn't mean I hate the guy. It doesn't mean I hate him just because I don't see him as elite. It just means I see him for what he is, which is a good running back. He's good. He is a power back. I'm glad he's on this team. But stop acting like just because he's on the damn Eagles, he's elite. Stop.
I love Jordan Howard, and Chucks will vouch for this. I've always loved Jordan Howard.
He always has.
I've always loved Jordan Howard. But if you think that he can be ran the same way that those names on that list that we've listed and still produce at that level, you're out of your freaking mind.
You're out of your mind.
My question would be is then, for Bill and the fam, do you see Frank Gore as elite then? Because Frank Gore just broke 1,500 or 15,000 yards because that's all these guys do.
Longevity.
All these guys do is not necessarily that, but is hit the field north south as hard as you can, and you get the shot to break these bigger plays, and your chunk yards are higher. But it's not because you're elite. It's because that's what you do. You're going to smash people in the mouth.
You're a volume running back.
Right.
It's volume. It's not efficiency. It's
right.
not big play per touch. It's volume.
There's a big difference.
And go watch. I'm begging people, and I don't mean to toot my horn or anything, but please, guys, go and I'm being serious right now, because it gets really annoying. Go purchase NFL Game Pass, all right, and watch the games of. And study and actually study elite running backs like Zeke, like Christian McCaffrey, like Alvin Kamara. Go watch it with Dalvin Cook, Saquon. I'm sorry, the best running back in the league, Saquon. Go watch them. Go watch them and compare what you see on film to Jordan Howard. Is it the same? No, it's not. They all move. They all move and play at a different speed, at a different level than Jordan Howard. Even a power back, like Zeke he's no burner, he has some speed, but overall he's more leaning toward being a really good power back, correct? He's more on the power side. But even a power back like Zeke moves 10 times better, has way more athleticism than Jordan Howard does. And that's not saying Jordan Howard is bad. It's just making being real about what he is and what these players are. Just because they're on the Eagles doesn't mean all these players on the roster are elite. Just like you stop, like Eagles fans too. They hype these players up so much.
You remember when
it's
Josh
okay
Adams
to be
was a
okay.
thing?
Remember when Josh Adams was a thing? Oh my God!
All right.
Another local kid.
Another
Yes,
local
another local kid.
You better watch out, Chucks. They're gonna come after you.
Oh God. All right.
And he says,
Oh, I thought you were gonna say
Chucks,
something
we
else.
know you love Sanders. Your narrative has wavered from week to week. Stop. Bill, you are absolutely
You guys can get into your
insane,
pissing
okay?
match
You
later.
are absolutely insane.
All right.
Get out of here.
You get in your pissing match later. Let's get into no huddle, guys, because we're coming to the end of the show here. And obviously, we're not gonna listen. Nobody's gonna convince anyone else otherwise. So
Yeah, he doesn't listen. Anyways.
I love him though, Bill. You're here every week. I love you, buddy. All right. Who wants to go first?
I guess I'll go first because I always have a couple. Well, first, I had to bring this up. But damn, the Niners look good. I am so happy that they played on national TV for the first time this season and were able to showcase just how talented they are. And I don't want to hear that, oh, they haven't played anyone yet. In 3 of their 4 games that they played so far, they've blown out their opponents. What did we say earlier? Great teams dominate bad teams. The Niners,
They
if
don't
you
play up
actually
and play
watch
down,
them,
right?
if you actually watch them, you'll be able to see they have talent. That front four, and this is the thing about their defense. Their defense, it really does remind me of the Eagles' defense from 2017. You're talking about an elite front four that gets pressure and stops the run. You're talking about a defense that's great in the red zone, and you're talking about a defense that creates turnovers. That reminds me so much of the 2017 Eagles defense, and I love what I'm seeing from it. And Kyle Shanahan, like anyone who didn't believe me for the past few months or like since last year when I said Kyle Shanahan is a mastermind is an offensive genius when it comes to the running game, and that he's better than Sean McVay when it comes to play design. Now look what he does. Like his running game, his running schemes are better than anyone else in the league, and you're seeing that. And he has the talent. He has his skill players that he needs to fit the system, and it's showing. The Niners are a good team. Are they a Super Bowl contender? I don't know. I don't know that for sure. I can't say that they are yet. I think they're a year away, but they are absolutely. I believe they're still the favorites to win the division, and I still think they're going to make some noise in the playoffs. I really do believe so. They are a good team, a great young team with great young talent. Nick Bosa was my defensive rookie of the year pick, and he's starting to. He was having a crap ton of pressures first few weeks of the year. Last night he finally started to get sacks, and you're starting to see just why he was so highly touted in the draft. The Niners look great. They look great, and if you are still in denial about how good they are, then start watching them because they're a good team. And when you actually watch them play, it's easy to see.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I think Nick Bosa starts to make a case for Rookie of the Year himself, and he's starting to pull away from the pack as far as other guys that were or could have been in that conversation just by pure dominance. I'm not personally a fan of the way that their offenses run.
We know.
But with that being said, they run it better than anyone else ever has to this point.
Better than McVay.
So yeah, I picked them to win the division. I think they still finish out the rest of the year strong, and that ends up happening.
I'm good. I got nothing to contribute.
Oh, for no huddle?
No, for that one.
Oh, for that.
Are we
okay.
moving on?
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
move on. Go ahead, move on. Unless, Ralphie, you want to say anything?
Nah, I just think the Niners are good. The Niners are really good. And you saw it last night.
Dynamite dropping,
Listen,
Ralphie.
when-
Those
when-
broadcasting classes are really starting to pay off.
When we were doing our preseason predictions, I had the Eagles, Niners in the NFC Championship game.
Woo!
So,
Yes, Ralphie. Yes.
I don't like to puff my chest, but, it's looking
No,
pretty good.
we both can puff it. We'll both puff it together. Smorgasbord and all. Let's all do it.
I
Let's do
love it. I love it. Buffet on Ralphie. I guess I'll go with one of my no huddles here. Baseball playoffs, man, they've been very exciting. 3 of the 4 series going to games 5. Well, if this goes as it looks like it's going right now. But, man, they have been exciting. I'm a Cardinals fan, and I have had a heart attack almost every freaking game. It has been insane. So, I mean, I'm telling you guys, if you're a baseball fan, I know you love Phillies, most of you guys. I know it was a rough year, but if you love the sport, man, this is a good time to be watching because there is a lot of good teams in the postseason this year, and I think you are going to have an excellent World Series. Yada, 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 by the way. Anybody else? You guys don't even know what baseball is.
What's baseball?
You only know
Chuck's came in and said, "Is baseball still going on?"
He only knows tap baseball.
That's about it.
Tap baseball.
He's like, that's a guy that Luke. That's a guy that on tap baseball. We're good.
Yeah.
But no, listen, it's been very exciting. A lot of good games, so check them out.
So for my no huddle, I got the little bit of the WWE world sneaking in back into the MMA. You've got
this isn't Cain Velasquez entering WWE. This is one going the other way.
Right. You've got Alberto Del Rio actually calling out Tito Ortiz on multiple occasions. They just signed and they will be fighting, I believe, the middle of the month. I got.
Is that on Bellator?
No, it's I can't pronounce it. It's a Mexican fighting league.
So I'll probably have to pay $20 to get it, which I won't. I'll find a legal stream.
Yeah, but it's interesting because he actually has fought all the way back to 2006. So even while he was in WWE, to the point where he actually fights with a mask on to hide his identity, and paying homage to where he started in Luchador. And he fought Mirko Krokop,
and
who
got knocked out.
Yeah, the only time he got touched was a kick to the face. And
did you
dropped
ever
in the
see
corner.
that, Ralph? Oh,
I have not.
I will have to send you that clip.
Yeah, send that
when
to
he
me.
was in MMA, and he got knocked out.
Yeah, he
pretty funny.
tried to dance around and got dropped immediately. It wasn't even a contest. So to call out a guy like Tito Ortiz, that takes some.
I hope he passes drug tests. Listen. When the dude was in wrestling, his last stretch over the last couple of years, he was a mess. So he's pretty much, at this point, been blackballed for most of wrestling. So, hey, he's going to go and he's going to get his payday. Getting knocked out by Tito Ortiz, so be it. He's a name. He can still draw. So this is like Tito's seventh.
Yeah, I saw that, Chuck.
It's like Tito's seventh retirement, right?
Yeah, he's been retired now twice, both by
Is his
Chuck
ex-wife?
Littell.
Is his ex-wife going to be in the crowd?
That
Jenna?
I don't know.
Good old Jenna Jameson.
That I don't know. I'll have to do some more research.
Nah, it'll be fun. I might maybe if I can find it. Maybe I'll watch that fight. Might be on the Fight app.
Yeah, Fight Pass. It may be. I'll have more information next week on it. But
Keep me posted. Keep us posted. What do you got, Ralphie? Anything good?
My no huddle is the great Kellen Moore of the Cowboys.
Oh, God.
So,
Oh boy!
so the Saints players before the Cowboys game, what was it, 2 weeks ago now? They went back and looked at some old Boise State tapes from Kellen Moore's and found out that he uses the same exact signals that he did in college.
Oh snap!
Yep. It's in an article right here that the Saints then found out Moore uses some of the same signals when calling the Cowboys offense.
Oh, I love it.
my
You hate to see
God.
it.
You hate to say it.
Oh
What a
my
dumbass.
God. Oh
I love it.
Listen,
my!
I'm going to equate that to this level of stupidity. Back when the Cardinals and the Astros thing, you remember hearing about how they went into their computer system, somebody hacked them?
Yeah.
The backstory of that is, what's his name? The general manager for the Astros. He used the same passwords that he used when he was in the St. Louis organization.
That's amazing.
That those people had access to and were able to hack the system with the same passwords.
That's amazing.
It's about as stupid as you can get.
But yeah, that's Kellen Moore for you.
You hate
Oh
to say
my
it.
God.
You hate to say it.
You hate to see.
This should be
That's
a
so
segment. Hate to
crazy.
say it.
Yeah, I love it.
We could make it a segment.
That's great.
We could absolutely make it.
Did you say we're running close on time here? But did you want to add another one?
Just real quick, just the last one is Flyers season opener win over the Chicago Blackhawks
Oh,
all the way in the Czech Republic. great win, and Travis Konechny looks good.
Konechny
2
looks
goals.
good.
His second goal was dirty.
Konechny looks good. Their forecheck looked really good. And what you see different in this team that you haven't seen over the last few years, and I think you saw a lot of, they kind of just stayed pat in the defensive end. They weren't aggressive. So, as the offensive team is kind of passing the puck around, nobody's chasing the puck handler. Nobody's going after the puck. They did more of like a little zone. They're definitely much more aggressive at attacking the puck handler and getting the puck out of the zone and kind of having more time in their offensive zone. So, I mean, they looked very, very, very impressive. It was a very nice win. Something to be encouraged about. I'm going tomorrow to the home opener, so I'm excited about that. So, and that's the Devils, those crumbs. They're about as bad as the Lakers. Ralphie.
Wayne Simmons is back tomorrow night.
Wayne Simmons is back tomorrow night. And for a lot of the people, too, just since you brought him up, because people tried to say he was talking shit, Wayne Simmons was not talking shit. People misinterpreted what Wayne Simmons was saying. Well, Wayne Simmons, there was a whole thing where Wayne Simmons, he said he didn't care if he got booed, and people, obviously, it's word of mouth, and people make a big thing about it. What Wayne Simmons said is that he loves this city. I mean, hell, this was his home for how long? He understands the fans. He respects the fans, and he would expect nothing less. So he doesn't take it personal and doesn't care if he gets booed. That's what he was saying. But people try to take it and make something out of it, a story.
You know what? To be honest, I don't think he does get booed tomorrow.
I don't think he does either.
I don't think he does.
Not right away. Maybe later in the game it might start happening.
Yeah,
but
I feel like if he scores
if he
or
gets
something,
pushy.
or like he gets physical.
I think that he will get I think he will get a huge standing ovation. It's a guy that not everybody, nobody wanted to see him go. They made a decision. They could have bought him back this year in free agency. They decided not to do that. And, I mean, he did a lot for this organization. So I hope that he gets cheered. I will cheer him. I will not boo him. But, yeah, I mean, that was my little off-the-cuff no huddle because I forgot I wanted to address that. Anything else good for the cause, guys, before we jump off?
No, we're good.
Guys, great week. Appreciate you, fam, for your interactions, keeping us going. We appreciate you always with your engagement, whether it's Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Periscope, YouTube. We love you guys. Tomorrow night, the fix, right? No fix?
No fix tomorrow night.
No fix tomorrow, but you do have AM and the PM tomorrow night. So make sure you guys tune in for that for more Eagles and maybe Gabe Kapler talk. Oh, quick no huddle. Gabe Kapler's not getting fired. I'm telling you that right now. I know you hate to see it, but I promise you it's not going to happen. But thank you to our sponsors, Gibson Mayer, Dr. Paul Vidal over at Specialized Physical Therapy. We appreciate you guys as well. So from the Real Talk Studios for Chrome, Chucks, Kevin, Ralphie the Crumb. Ralphie, my guy, I love you, buddy. Have a great week. Fly, Eagles, fly.
Woo, let's go.
We'll talk to you guys soon.